For 7 months, war has raged within 25 kilometres of Kharkiv, a major city in Ukraine's northeast. Few predicted Ukrainian forces would hold out this long against Russia's military juggernaut. But now, in a stunning turnaround, Ukraine has recaptured more than 6,000 square kilometres of its territory in the space of weeks.
No, it's something incredible. It was difficult to believe that it could happen so fast.
Back in March, 7:30 spoke to Kharkiv-based violinist Vera. She was huddled with her neighbours in an underground bunker to escape the Russian bombardment.
I'm not a soldier, I'm not a doctor. This is the only thing I can do. I start to play for my neighbors.
Several days ago, when Russian troops were pushed away from the city of Kharkiv, the shelling became not so severe.
With Russian forces pushed out of artillery range, she's now free to perform in public.
Now I play with my orchestra. We play concerts in many locations. We start to play concerts for people in Kharkiv, not just in bunkers.
The liberated regions have welcomed Ukrainian soldiers, including emotional reunions. But the joy of victory has been tempered by the discovery of alleged war crimes. Not only claims of horrific abuse, but hundreds of graves belonging to mostly civilians as well as soldiers.
So these are the same guys, that murdered 22,000 Polish officers and intellectuals back after the beginning of the Second World War. Now, this is what they do. And nobody in Ukraine or Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, none of them are surprised by this. They're horrified, but they're not surprised that it has happened.
Retired commander of the US Army in Europe, Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, says Ukraine has swung the balance of the war, capturing not just territory, but also vital ammunition and other equipment left behind by the fleeing Russians.
The momentum that the Ukrainians have achieved is irreversible. There's nothing that's going to undo this now. I'm sure of that. War is a test of logistics and it's a test of will. And when I look at the Russian logistics, it gets weaker, worse every week. The sanctions are having an effect inside of Russia. They can no longer make quality precision weapons because they can't import the components that they used to have. And then the will. I mean, we see so many examples of lost will to fight by Russian soldiers. They do not want to be there.
Russia's setbacks on the battlefield are being reflected on domestic TV.
Мы подошли к черте, за которой надо просто понимать простую вещь. Where we have had heated exchanges with people actually criticizing the government for mishandling of this war. And also, we've had criticism of Putin saying that he's not doing enough to actually win the war.
Russia's military humiliation came on the eve of a meeting between President Putin and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping, who President Putin said had questions and concerns about the war in Ukraine.
It is absolutely humiliating, and that is very interesting indeed to see how this works out, because, of course, a humiliated leader means a weakened leader, a leader whose legitimacy has been undermined.
Ukraine's soldiers and population, as well as its allies in the West, appear more resolute than ever that Russia can be defeated militarily.
So it's not surprising to us that they have pushed as quickly as they have. I think if anyone was surprised, just based on the reports that we've seen in terms of the Russian military's response, it was probably the Russians.
This aggressor needs to fail, and that should be a dramatic failure, so they never ever think about doing this again, and no one else thinks about doing this again. That's the key to keep the peace.
Former Defence Minister Andriy Zagoranyuk warns that his nation's soldiers now need to reinforce the new front line.
Need to keep the troops present pretty much in all areas where Russians can attack, because Russians will attack us where we are not prepared. So that's why we have a very difficult job of keeping all our borders alert.
Despite the success of this recent offensive, the fighting is far from over.
У меня на фронте много друзей, но, наверное, самый близкий человек – это мой зять, который, вернее, вчера стал моим зятем. Да, он находится на фронте и выполняет достаточно сложную работу.
Svetlana's daughter, Luda, just got married to Kolya, a soldier.
То есть до этого ни ротации, ничего не было, и вот благодаря тому, что свадьба, его отпустили на 5 суток именно на свадьбу. А так ротация, как бы, она и в данный момент и не предполагается.
Kolya is a sapper. After a brief honeymoon, he's about to head back to the front line and the dangerous task of removing mines and other explosives abandoned by Russian troops.
Думаю про те, якби чоловік скоріше повернувся живим, щоб все в нас було хорошо, щоб кожне утро він дзвонив.
Я буду кожне утро дзвонити. І казати, що все добре. Кожен вечір перед сном. Добре?
Саме головне, щоб скоріше вернувся.
It's too much. Luda gets on the train to spend a few more precious hours with her new husband before she returns and he stays to do his duty.
Повномасштабна війна в країну зайшла і, чесно кажучи, дуже скучав за домом, за всім, але розумів, що я потрібен там. Є така професія, яку я вибрав – захист Родини.